The stars had always been a mirror to humanity, bright, scattered, infinite. They had promised hope, adventure, and the whispers of home long lost. But when the first council of the interstellar order spoke, their words were like icy fire cutting through the dreams of countless human souls. Your species, the council had said, voices echoing across 1,000,000 star systems, is unstable, too unpredictable, too emotional. You will be cast out. Mara pressed her palms to the smooth glass of the observation deck aboard the Arcship Elysium. The verdict replayed in her mind, relentless and sharp. Around her, corridors hummed with the life of thousands of humans, each heart beating with anger, confusion, or fear. She saw Leora pacing, twisting her silver braid, muttering words no one could quite hear. They think we can't survive without their rules, Leora said finally, her voice brittle. They think we're weak. Mara shook her head slowly. They don't understand us, she whispered. But that doesn't mean we're wrong. Maybe this is our chance. The Arcship, vast enough to cradle humanity across the stars, suddenly felt like a cage. Families huddled in observation pods, children staring at infinite black, where constellations now seemed to mock them. For generations, humans had been considered insignificant, chaotic, a species unfit for order. And now, exiled, that judgment was final. Captain Elias entered quietly, his presence commanding stillness. Calm eyes swept over the room. We have choices, he said, voice steady, low enough to carry weight. We can let them define us, or we can define ourselves. This is the first step of a journey no one else will understand. We will not hide. We will not plead. We will rise. Mara felt a flicker of hope ignite. She had always believed in humanity's quiet strength, the kind that survives harsh winters, endless storms, and nights darker than despair. Now, stripped of allies, she wondered if that strength could illuminate the void before them. The first weeks were brutal. Supplies were rationed. Tension spread like wildfire. The Council's judgment left scars deeper than anyone admitted. Arguments erupted over strategy, morality, even simple comforts. Some humans blamed themselves, others blamed the Council, and a few refused to speak at all. Yet hope arrived in a quiet, unassuming form. Evo, a small shipbot with more curiosity than programming, detected a pattern in a neighboring star cluster, a cluster the Council had dismissed as unsuitable for life. Mara and Elias pored over the data. What they found defied every prediction. Planets with breathable atmospheres, minerals to sustain life for centuries, and energy fields untouched by the Order. It's a second chance, Mara whispered, tracing her fingers over the holographic map, feeling the pulse of possibility. We've been cast out, but they forgot something. Humans don't just survive, we evolve. We grow. The crew rallied. Children were taught navigation. Engineers improvised technologies from scraps. Scientists dreamed again, bigger than ever before. In every heart, a quiet rebellion bloomed. Not anger, but relentless hope. One night, Mara watched the first human-made satellite slip into orbit around a nearby planet. She felt the gravity of the moment. We were never meant to fit into their galaxy, she murmured to Elias. Elias placed a hand on her shoulder, rare warmth in his eyes. And outgrow it we shall, he said. Elegantly. With every choice, every world we touch, we will prove that humanity is not chaos. Humanity is creation. Above them, the stars gleamed, indifferent yet magnificent, as if acknowledging a silent promise. Humans may have been cast out, but in the vast cathedral of the universe, they would carve a place of their own, brilliant, unyielding, breathtakingly alive. The Elysium glided silently through the void, a silver shard against the black. Every star they passed seemed to whisper, "You do not belong." Mara felt it too, the weight of centuries of judgment pressing on her chest, but it no longer broke her spirit. It sharpened it. Weeks had passed since the Council's exile. Humanity had become a single living organism aboard the Arcship. Each heartbeat for the collective will to survive, to flourish, to reclaim dignity denied by the galaxy's self-proclaimed stewards. The discovery of the neighboring cluster had changed everything. It wasn't just a place to survive. It was a canvas. Mara stood on the observation deck, tracing the energy lines flickering across the holographic star map. Planets with shimmering auroras, vast oceans untouched by civilization, mountains that reached toward the stars. They waited for them. Every chart, Every scan, every calculation confirms it, said Leora, her voice steadier than Mara had ever heard. This cluster, it's more than habitable. It's abundant. Captain Elias leaned against the railing beside them, his arms crossed. Abundance is meaningless if we're afraid. Fear is what the Council hoped we'd carry. Fear is what keeps a species small. Mara's gaze hardened. We're not afraid. The first planetary approach was tense. The humans had left the safety of the familiar, traveling into a void without guides, without precedent. The Ark ship shuddered as gravitational pulls tugged at its hull. Crew members braced themselves, hearts synchronized with the vessel's vibrations. Status report, Elias commanded. Ivo, the shipbot, beeped as holographic data projected from his core. Atmosphere breathable. Water abundant. Terrain stable. Magnetic fields optimal for settlement. Minimal unknown hazards detected. Minimal unknown hazards? Mara said, raising an eyebrow. That means anything could happen. Exactly, Elias replied. And we will meet it as humans always have. They descended onto the first planet, a world bathed in golden light, oceans shimmering like molten glass, forests swaying with gentle breezes that smelled of minerals and rain. The humans stepped onto the soil with reverent awe, boots sinking slightly into soft, rich earth. Silence fell. Not fear, but something heavier, wonder. This is ours now, whispered Leora, almost unable to believe the vision before her eyes. For days they explored, mapped, and catalogued. Every discovery was a reminder. The Council's judgment was not fate. It was ignorance. Humanity had been underestimated, dismissed as chaos incarnate. And here, far from the Order's reach, they proved otherwise. But even in this beauty, tension simmered. Fear lingered, subtle, like a shadow in the corner of the mind. The first night under alien stars, arguments broke out over leadership decisions, priorities, even morality. Some believed they should claim the planet immediately. Others thought they should explore further before committing. Old doubts, old insecurities threatened to fracture them. Mara wandered alone into a grove of luminous trees, their leaves glowing faintly in the dark. She traced her fingers along a bark that pulsed like life itself. She thought of Earth, of ancestors who had survived plagues, wars, storms, and exile. We are the sum of all those who endured, she whispered. We are more than what the Council ever imagined. Leora appeared silently beside her. It's hard to remember that when tempers flare, when decisions weigh on every breath. Mara smiled faintly. That's human, she said. Messy, emotional, stubborn, but also brilliant. The night passed, and by morning the humans had begun building their first shelters, using technology scavenged from the Ark ship and materials from the planet. They worked with precision, with care, with creativity only a species like theirs could muster. They did not simply survive. They began to shape their world. Elias watched them from a ridge above, the morning sun reflecting on his calm face. Mara approached him, her hand brushing the soft glow of alien grass. They tried to cast us out, she said softly. But look at us. We didn't break, we've begun, Elias nodded. Not begun, Mara. Already we have transformed. Every challenge we face here, every step we take beyond the Council's shadow proves a truth no one can deny. Humanity does not belong to their order. Humanity belongs to itself, and one day, perhaps to the stars themselves. Above them, the cluster's twin suns rose, casting molten light over oceans and forests. The humans stood at the edge of the galaxy's judgment, and yet, for the first time, they did not tremble. They dreamed, they built, they thrived. And somewhere, Mara thought, the Council would have to watch as the species they tried to exile grew more beautiful and more impossible than they had ever imagined. The first weeks on the Golden Planet were a triumph of human resilience, but no victory lasts without shadows. The humans had begun building shelters, exploring rivers that glinted like liquid glass, and planting seeds that promised life for generations. Yet beneath the sunlit beauty something waited, silent, unpredictable, and deeply alien. It began with whispers among the crew. Small malfunctions in systems that should have been perfect. Faint tremors in the ground, shadows that lingered longer than the light allowed. Mara noticed it first in the subtle tension in the corridors, the tight grip of hands on tools, the hurried glances skyward. We cannot ignore it, she said to Elias, her voice taut with unease. This planet, it's alive in ways we don't understand yet, and it's testing us, Elias nodded gravely. The Council feared our unpredictability, he said. Perhaps the universe does the same. The trial of shadows, as the humans would later call it, came without warning. A storm unlike any Earth had known tore across the plains. Winds howled with voices that seemed almost human, bending metal, uprooting trees, and shattering the fragile constructions they had built. Power grids flickered and died. Communication lines between settlements went silent. Panic threatened to fracture the fragile unity they had forged. Amid the chaos, Mara ran through the corridors of the Ark ship, shouting orders, rallying crews, and coordinating rescue efforts. Every heart pounded in sync with hers. Every footstep echoed with urgency. She saw Leora helping families to safety, her braid whipped by wind and rain, her eyes wide but steady. She saw Elias directing engineers calm as ever, but the strain in his jaw betrayed the weight he carried. It's not just a storm, Mara thought as she watched the lightning split the sky. It's a test, and we cannot fail. They endured the night, clinging to each other, to routines, to ingenuity. When the storm finally subsided, the humans emerged into a scarred landscape. Forests were shattered, rivers muddied, and the golden light of the sun revealed devastation. Yet among the ruins, something remarkable happened. Humans began to rebuild immediately. Not just shelters, but hope itself. Evo, the small shipbot who had become an unlikely symbol of curiosity and persistence, led an expedition into the forest to assess damage. Mara followed, feeling the pulse of life beneath the fallen branches and shattered soil. Here, humans were different from any other species. They could adapt, improvise, and create meaning even amid destruction. They tried to cast us out, Mara whispered to Evo, who responded with a series of thoughtful beeps. And yet, we survived. In the weeks that followed, the trial of shadows became a lesson in unity and creativity. Humans learned to work with the planet, not against it, developing structures that bent with the wind instead of resisting it, harnessing energy from storms instead of fearing it. Each failure, each setback became a stepping stone, but the psychological toll was real. Fear and doubt lingered, whispering in the quiet moments, in the nights when children cried and parents could not answer why the sky raged. Mara sat one night with Leora under the glow of alien stars. How do we stay strong when everything seems against us? Leora asked, voice trembling. Mara considered the broken trees, the flooded plains, the scarred earth around them. Strength, she said slowly, is not never falling. It is standing again even when you feel broken. That is what makes humans human. That is what makes us unstoppable. Elias joined them, standing tall against the alien night. The council cast us out, he said. They thought exile would break us. They do not understand that humans do not merely survive. We adapt, we endure, and in enduring, we become more than they imagined. By the time the planet healed from the storm, humans had not only survived, they had thrived in ways they could not have imagined before exile. New settlements arose, systems were improved, and innovations that would have seemed impossible on Earth became reality here. From the devastation, hope had grown. Humanity had learned the first of countless lessons the galaxy would teach them. That every shadow is a challenge to rise above, every storm a chance to shine brighter, every exile a step toward becoming unstoppable. Above the new settlements, the golden sun rose once more and Mara smiled. We've survived the shadows, she whispered, and the galaxy has not seen the last of us. The golden planet, scarred but thriving, had become more than a refuge. It had become a testament to human ingenuity and resolve. The humans of the Ark ship Elysium had learned to bend storms to their advantage, to read the whispers of the planet's subtle rhythms, and to craft homes that flourished amid the alien landscape. Yet even as they settled, the vast black beyond called to them, a horizon that promised wonder, challenge, and the first whispers of recognition from other beings in the galaxy. Mara stood on the observation deck as the twin suns rose, spilling molten light over the forest below. Her mind traced lines of uncharted stars, constellations that no human had mapped, energies that no council had claimed. The planet had healed, but it was only the beginning. Leora approached, her expression thoughtful. We could stay here, she said. We have everything we need. Safety, growth, a world of our own. Mara shook her head, her eyes never leaving the stars. Safety is not enough. We were cast out to be constrained, to be forgotten. Staying hidden would be giving them exactly what they wanted. Captain Elias joined them, silent until now. Beyond our world lies not just survival but choice, he said. And with choice comes responsibility. We can expand, make allies, claim our place. Or we can retreat and live quietly, unnoticed. Each path will define who we are. The humans debated, weighing curiosity against caution, ambition against humility. Some argued that the galaxy was too vast, too dangerous for a species still healing from exile. Others spoke of the possibilities. Knowledge, connection, and the chance to reshape perceptions of humanity forever. It was Mara who broke the stalemate, her voice carrying the weight of certainty. We are not a species meant to shrink. The Council tried to limit us, to confine us. But humans outgrow limits. Every world we touch, every challenge we face is proof. We step forward not for conquest, but for the right to exist in our own light. So they chose. The Archship Elysium would not remain tethered to one world. They would explore the surrounding clusters, study their neighbors, and leave trails of life, innovation, and understanding wherever they traveled. Their first step was cautious. A probe launched into the neighboring star systems, mapping habitable planets, energy fields, and intelligent life signals. Hours stretched into days as they awaited results, the human crew brimming with anticipation and apprehension. When the data returned, the revelation was astonishing. Signals from distant civilizations, curious, cautious, but unmistakably aware, flickered across the monitors. Humanity was not alone, and the universe had noticed. Elias studied the readings, brows furrowed. Some are advanced, governed by strict orders, much like the Council. Others are different. Fluid, adaptive, creative. And all of them are watching. Mara felt a thrill tempered by caution. This is the first chance to show the galaxy who we truly are, she said. Not chaos. Not weakness, humanity. Elegance in motion. Curiosity without end. The Archship prepared for its first interstellar journey beyond the cluster. Humans trained, shared knowledge, and tested technologies that would ensure survival in the unknown void. In workshops, laboratories, and observatories, the crew discovered the joy of creation, constructing systems that reflected human ingenuity, solving problems with imagination no other species possessed. Yet with this promise came weighty decisions. One signal, faint and hesitant, seemed to ask for assistance. Mara and Elias debated whether to intervene. Some argued for caution, fearing entanglement with unknown civilizations. Others insisted it was a moral imperative, an extension of the human spirit that had survived centuries of neglect and exile. Finally, Mara spoke, her voice steady and luminous. We were given exile, but not indifference. Every life we can touch, every mind we can inspire. That is our choice. We cannot shrink from it. The Archship changed course, heading toward the source of the signal. The crew felt the exhilaration of stepping into the galaxy's consciousness for the first time, no longer hidden, no longer constrained. They were humans in full bloom, curious, empathetic, resilient, and unyielding. Above them, stars shimmered with infinite possibilities. The galaxy had cast them out, tried to confine them, but humanity had chosen differently. They would reach toward every horizon, not with arrogance, but with elegance, creativity, and the courage to grow beyond every limit imposed upon them. And as the Archship Elysium pierced the darkness, Mara whispered to the void, a declaration and a promise. We have been cast out, yes, but we will not merely exist. We will flourish. We will be seen. We will outgrow everything the galaxy ever imagined. The Archship Elysium glided silently through the dark stretches between clusters, its silver hull reflecting the scattered light of distant stars. Humanity had left the golden planet behind, carrying with them the lessons of survival, the scars of storms, and the unbroken spirit that had turned exile into opportunity. Yet nothing in Mara's life could have prepared her for what awaited them. A first encounter with another civilization. The signal had led them to a planet veiled in mist and cobalt oceans. A city of shimmering spires floated above the surface, its architecture alive with light, as if the planet itself had nurtured it. From the Archship, humans observed without audacity, their eyes wide, hearts pounding with the thrill of the unknown. They're waiting for us, Leora whispered, her voice barely audible over the hum of the ship's engines. Elias stood at the helm, calm but alert. Remember what brought us here, he said. Curiosity, respect, and the courage to act as humans, not shadows of what others expect us to be. As the Ark ship descended, a projection of beings appeared before them, suspended in air like living holograms. Their forms were fluid, shifting subtly with eyes that seemed to look not at the surface but into the heart. Mara felt the weight of their gaze, intelligent and discerning, yet not hostile. "Who are you?" Mara asked aloud, voice steady. "We are humans. Cast out, yes, but resilient. We mean no harm." The beings responded, their communication flowing directly into thought, images, and emotion rather than sound. Mara felt a wave of understanding and curiosity, tempered with caution. They had noticed humans' survival, their expansion, and now sought to measure the character of a species they had observed from afar. "We see you," the beings conveyed, a chorus of emotion and light. "Your kind is chaotic, yet in chaos you thrive. You have endured storms, exiled and underestimated. You have faced shadows and emerged unbroken. Tell us, what do you seek among the stars?" Mara swallowed, feeling the weight of every human life aboard the Ark ship. "We seek understanding, not dominion, not conquest. We were cast out for being different, but we are more than our mistakes. We create, we protect, we endure, and we hope to find our place in a galaxy that once rejected us." For a moment the beings remained silent. Mara felt the tension ripple through the crew. Children clutched hands, engineers held tools they might never use, and Leora's braid trembled as if echoing the uncertainty in every human heart. Then, slowly the beings responded, their forms shimmering with what Mara recognized as approval. "Your species is extraordinary. You carry fear and hope in equal measure. You survive through ingenuity, compassion, and persistence. You are unlike any we have known." Mara's chest swelled with cautious pride. This was not triumph in the traditional sense, no weapons had been raised, no laws bent, but recognition. The galaxy for the first time saw humanity not as chaos, but as a force of elegance, creativity, and resilience. Elias stepped forward. "We are not here to take. We are here to learn, to grow, and to coexist. The Council cast us out, but we have not fallen. We have outgrown their vision of what humans could be." The beings seemed to shimmer with understanding. "Then walk among the stars as equals. Show us your world, and in doing so reveal the potential we had not expected." A cheer erupted quietly aboard the Ark ship, not loud, not boisterous, but filled with relief, wonder, and quiet triumph. Mara watched her crew, seeing their faces lit by alien light, each reflecting hope and determination. Humanity had not only survived exile, they had made first contact on their own terms, without violence, without surrender. And somewhere deep within the vastness of the universe, Mara felt a shift, subtle but undeniable. The galaxy's perception of humans had begun to change. Their elegance, creativity, and resilience were no longer just personal truths. They were becoming a recognized force, impossible to ignore. As the Ark ship lifted slightly above the alien city, Mara whispered to herself, "A vow to all those aboard and to every human yet to be born. We were cast out, and yet here we are. Not as shadows, not as echoes, but as ourselves. And we will continue until the stars themselves know the name of humanity." Above them, the galaxy stretched infinitely vast and silent, waiting for humans to leave footprints among worlds, to show that exile was never an end, but a beginning. The Ark ship Elysium drifted through starlight, leaving behind the alien city that had recognized humanity's worth. Mara stood on the observation deck, her eyes tracing constellations that carried the weight of countless civilizations. Humanity had made its first connection, but the galaxy was vast, and recognition alone did not guarantee safety. "Reports from the neighboring clusters," Leora said, her voice measured, "indicate that not all species are as welcoming as the ones we met. Some see our expansion as a threat." Elias folded his arms, gaze steady. "We expected this. The Council cast us out because we are unpredictable. Some beings fear unpredictability more than power." The first challenge arrived sooner than anticipated. A fleet of heavily armed vessels emerged from a nearby system, their hulls dark and angular, the air between stars tense with unspoken accusation. They bore the insignia of the Tyrant Collective, a species that ruled by hierarchy and fear, viewing humans as a chaotic anomaly. "We demand an audience," the message pulsed across the Ark ship's comms. "Cease your expansion or face consequences." Mara felt the tension coil in her chest, but she refused to yield. "They cast us out once," she murmured. but they will not dictate our destiny again. Elias activated the Arkship's shields and opened a channel. We do not seek conflict, he said, calm but firm. We seek coexistence. Humanity is no longer constrained by your assumptions or the Council's fear. We will not retreat, but we will not strike without cause. The Tyran emissary materialized in the Arkship's projection chamber. A towering figure, its armor dark as obsidian, eyes cold and unblinking. Humans, it said, voice resonant and uncompromising. Your species is chaotic. You meddle where you do not belong. Leave or we will enforce our will. Mara stepped forward, her heartbeat steady. We were cast out for being human. We survived storms, exile, and doubt. Our chaos is not weakness, it is creation. Our ingenuity is not rebellion, it is survival. We will not leave, but we are willing to prove that humanity brings value, not destruction. The Tyran paused, assessing, calculating. For the first time, Mara sensed curiosity beneath their cold exterior. Prove it, they said. Thus began the Crucible of Stars, a test not of firepower but of intellect, collaboration, and moral resolve. The Tyran presented challenges, complex navigational puzzles through unstable star clusters, resource management in alien ecosystems, and ethical dilemmas that weighed survival against intervention. Every task demanded creativity, adaptability, and unity. Humans responded as only they could. Mara led a team to stabilize a collapsing star corridor, improvising with unconventional energy harmonics the Tyran could not predict. Leora devised a system to cultivate food in zero-gravity conditions, using alien minerals in ways no algorithm could anticipate. Elias coordinated the Arkship with precision, turning potential disaster into orchestrated brilliance. Days stretched into weeks. The Tyran observed silently, their projections flickering with growing fascination. Humans, once dismissed as chaotic and weak, displayed a kind of elegance that could not be taught, only lived. Every challenge met, every obstacle overcome, demonstrated resilience and creativity intertwined with empathy, a trait few species understood, and even fewer valued. Finally, the Tyran emissary spoke again. Humans, your species is remarkable. Your methods are unorthodox yet effective. You do not simply endure. You shape reality with will, ingenuity, and spirit. Perhaps we underestimated you. Mara felt the weight of the statement settle over the crew. Recognition had been earned not by force but by action, by humanity living up to the promise that had carried them from exile to the edge of the galaxy. Elias placed a hand on Mara's shoulder. This was never just survival, he said. This was proof. Proof that humans are not defined by the limitations imposed on them, but by the choices they make in the face of the unknown. As the Tyran fleet withdrew, leaving the Arkship free to continue its journey, Mara turned to the stars. Humanity had faced the Crucible, and they had emerged not just unbroken, but elevated, respected, feared, and understood on terms they had set themselves. Above them, the universe stretched infinitely, a canvas of possibilities. The galaxy had tried to confine humans, to limit them, to dismiss them, and yet from exile and shadows, they had risen, their elegance unbound, their ingenuity unmatched, their spirit unyielding. Mara whispered into the void, a vow to all those who would follow. We were cast out. We were tested, and still we will not merely exist. We will flourish. We will shape the stars themselves. The galaxy had changed, slowly, imperceptibly at first, and then with a momentum that could not be stopped. Humanity, once dismissed as chaotic and weak, now moved among the stars with purpose, grace, and creativity. The Arkship Elysium had become more than a vessel. It was a symbol of a species that refused to bow, that refused to vanish into the shadows of exile. Mara stood at the observation deck, gazing at a nebula swirling in violet and gold. Its beauty reminded her of everything humans had endured: storms, exile, judgment, and the fear of the unknown. Yet in that beauty, she saw the reflection of humanity itself, brilliant, resilient, and untamed. Leora joined her silently, her braid catching the soft glow of the nebula. We've come far, she whispered. Do you think the Council even realizes what we've become? Mara smiled faintly. They tried to cast us out, but the universe has learned our truth before they ever could. Humans do not simply survive. We transform. We elevate. Below them, the Arkship's crew moved like a living organism, Each action purposeful, each decision thoughtful. They had expanded to multiple planets, forming thriving colonies that were not bound by fear or bureaucracy, but by innovation, empathy, and shared vision. Humanity had not only survived exile, they had redefined it. News from other civilizations arrived regularly, carried across the interstellar network of communications. Once skeptical species now sought alliances, eager to learn from humans' inventive solutions and ethical ingenuity. The Tyrant Collective, once a potential adversary, now regarded humanity with respect tinged with awe. They were not merely tolerated, they were celebrated as a force of elegance, a species capable of outgrowing any limit imposed upon them. Yet with expansion came reflection. Mara often thought of Earth, the home left behind, now a memory more powerful than any place she had set foot. Humanity had outgrown the confines of a single world, but the lessons of history, of survival, endurance, and compassion remained their compass. One day, as the Ark ship sailed near the edge of a previously uncharted cluster, Mara convened the Council of Human Leaders. Engineers, scientists, explorers, and diplomats gathered, faces lit by starlight and determination. "We stand at a threshold," Mara began, her voice carrying through the chamber. "The galaxy has tested us, judged us, tried to confine us, and yet we have endured, we have thrived. We have been cast out, and from that exile, we have grown, elegantly, unshakably, brilliantly." Elias, standing beside her, added, "Every choice we make from this moment forward will define the story of humanity. We will continue to explore, to create, to build bridges, not as conquerors but as witnesses to the potential of life, the power of hope, and the elegance of endurance." The decision was unanimous. Humanity would no longer hide. They would continue to expand, yes, but always with ethics, ingenuity, and grace. Every planet colonized, every system explored, every civilization touched would bear the mark of humans not as destroyers, but as creators, innovators, and companions in the cosmic journey. As the Ark ship slipped into hyperspace, Mara looked out at the swirling stars. Somewhere out there, the Council's voice had faded, replaced by the quiet acknowledgement of countless species who now knew what humans had always known. They were extraordinary. Leora leaned close. "Do you think we finally found our place?" Mara shook her head gently, smiling. "Our place isn't given, Leora. Our place is created. Every star we touch, every world we nurture, every mind we inspire, that is where humanity belongs. We don't just exist in the galaxy, we elevate it." Above them, the nebula blazed with color, a reminder of both chaos and creation. Humanity had been cast out, tested, and challenged. They had faced storms that could have broken them, exiles meant to humble them, civilizations meant to dismiss them. And yet they had risen elegantly, boldly, unyieldingly. And in the vast cathedral of stars, Mara knew one truth that would endure as long as humanity did. They had not merely survived the galaxy, they had outgrown it. The Ark ship moved forward, carrying a species that refused to be defined by others' limitations. Humanity had become a constellation unto itself, a testament to resilience, creativity, and the indomitable spirit of life. And the stars, infinite and eternal, seemed to shine a little brighter, reflecting the brilliance of a species that had learned to rise, not in spite of exile but because of it.